In the quiet hours of the night, the soul begins to ask the questions we've been trained to avoid. Not because the questions are dangerous, but because the answers might be. What if the faith you inherited is not the truth? What if the God you worship is not the God who saves? What if your entire eternity depends on a belief you never chose? Some people never ask. They sleep, they follow, they obey. They live in the comfort of inherited certainty. But a few do not. They wake up, they search. And when they find the truth, it doesn't comfort them, it terrifies them. Because the truth doesn't just change religion, it changes destiny. They were not lost, they were not rebellious. They were trained, powerful, influential. And they discovered a truth so unsettling it forced them to choose between fear and faith. Ayaan Hirsi Ali's story begins not in a mosque, but in the reality of violence. She grew up inside a system where the name of God was used like a sword, where women were silenced, where children were controlled, where obedience was demanded, not out of love, but out of fear. Ayaan didn't leave Islam because she found a better philosophy. She left because she saw a religion that could justify cruelty and call it holiness. Her awakening was not intellectual at first, it was moral. She watched the weak crushed, she watched the powerless silenced, she watched God's name used to justify what no God should ever allow. And then she began to ask the question that most people never dare to ask. If God is loving, why does his system produce oppression? If God is just, why does his system protect the powerful? If God is merciful, why does his system punish the innocent? Ayaan's journey reveals the first terrifying truth. A religion can be powerful and still be wrong, and the most dangerous kind of wrong is the kind that convinces you it is right. She didn't escape Islam to become a rebel. She escaped because she refused to worship a God who allows injustice to hide behind rules. And when she discovered Jesus, she found a God who didn't demand fear, he demanded transformation, not by violence, but by love. Ayaan's story is a warning. If your faith produces cruelty, it is not from God, because God does not need fear to make people obey. He needs love to make people change. Abdu Murray was raised Muslim. He wasn't a casual believer. He was trained in Islamic theology. He studied the Quran seriously. He defended Islam intellectually. He believed he understood God. But then he began reading the Bible, and what he encountered was not just a different religion, it was a different understanding of God. Islam taught him that righteousness is pursued through submission, through law, obedience, and effort. But as Abdu studied both Islam and Christianity side by side, a tension emerged that shook him. If God is perfectly just and perfectly holy, then no amount of human effort can ever close the gap. The more he examined the question of salvation, the more disturbing the realization became. If salvation depends on works, then certainty is impossible. Because no one can know, no one can be sure. No one can stand before God without fear. And when faith is built on uncertainty, devotion becomes pressure. A lifelong weighing of deeds, a quiet anxiety beneath obedience. And Abdu began to recognize the deeper problem. Islam offers submission, but not assurance. It commands devotion, but it cannot promise peace. Then he encountered the gospel. He encountered a God who does not ask humanity to earn righteousness. He encountered a God who enters human brokenness. He encountered a God who bears the cost himself. He encountered a God who declares, "It is finished." And that declaration reframed everything. Because once salvation is received instead of achieved, fear loses its power. And Abdu's journey reveals a sobering truth. A faith without assurance leaves the soul restless. And restlessness is not freedom, it is bondage. If Jesus is who he claimed to be, then denying him is not a religious choice. It is a life or death decision. It is not a debate, it is a verdict. And the Islamic system cannot survive that reality, because Islam must deny Jesus' divinity to remain consistent. But the Bible forces you to choose. Either Jesus is God, or he is a liar, and if he is a liar, you do not want to follow him. But if he is God, then rejecting him is not harmless, it is fatal. The true battle is not about religion, it is about identity. Because the question is not, what do you believe? It is, who do you worship? Fear cannot save. Rules cannot redeem. Human effort cannot erase sin. The only answer is a God who became a man, a God who chose the cross, a God who absorbed judgment instead of postponing it, a God who does not ask you to earn his love, but to receive it. Islam cannot fully escape. It cannot provide peace, it cannot provide certainty, and it cannot provide a savior. Because salvation is not about what you do, it's about who you trust. If you are watching this, you are being asked to choose, not between religions, but between fear and truth, between performance and peace, between uncertainty and assurance. The door is open, the cross stands as proof, and the question remains, when your life ends, what will you rely on? Your works, your fear, or the finished work of Jesus?